Greetings and salutations, comic book conversationalists. This is Comic Book Hangover with my 150th weekly haul, weekly review video. And it's unreal, it's unbelievable that I've been doing this for 150 consecutive weeks. Even during the shutdown, it was kind of hard, but I was still able to do it. It is also currently really hard to do this because we've got all kinds of stuff going on here in our lives. It's absolutely insane, but you know that's neither here nor there. So let's just jump into it. Let's get into actually. Let me show you what I picked up. Tuesday? Let me show you what I picked up Tuesday. A friend of mine had a yard sale, and I used to have one of these when I was a kid, and I saw that he had actually had 3 of these, and this was the best looking one of them all. I have now, once again, I am the proud owner of a Masters of the Universe, an original Orko. It doesn't have the zip cord on it. I don't care. When I had it originally, I lost a zip cord too. But it's nice to have one of those again. I'm so happy to have Orko again. So let's just jump into the books that I picked up last week. There are some hits and there are some misses. Let's start with Hellcop. This is issue 7 of Hellcop. Now, you know, I was going to drop this series when this one was over with, but this issue was actually, I don't know what it was about it, but it was actually really good. I think it's just because we're interacting more with the denizens of Realm 1301A, which is essentially hell. These are Sasquatches. We know them as Bigfoot Sasquatches. They're actually from that realm. They're from hell, and there's some political intrigue going on in their realm, and it's kind of spilling over into our world. So it's interesting to see how this is all playing out. Now, I may still drop this one after this storyline ends because I got to start cutting back on my books. You know, I'm finding that I got too many books and I don't have enough saved up at the store to get the books I want. But this one is it's a really good book. You've got, you know, this guy here, Virgil. He is a Hellcop essentially. You know, as the title says, and basically what it is they police these other realms. So this is an Earth where, you know, we've been able to go into different dimensions, different realities, and one of them is basically hell, and the Hellcops sort of keep track of and make sure that the demons, the creatures from hell, stay there, and if they come here, they have a reason and a purpose, and they're not just wandering around. But really interesting series. Also really good. Strange number 3. Sorry, I got my light in a different location, and there's like this really horrible glare. There's probably a glare on my glasses as well from the circle. So if I do it like right here, I look, you know, a little wicked, but I don't want to do that. Anyway, so Strange number 3. I can't believe this is just issue 3. So this one actually has an appearance by a classic sort of, I know him as a Spider-Man villain, the Rose, and it's funny because the Rose is used to dealing with people like Doctor Strange and Daredevil and Spider-Man and the Punisher, people who have this sort of morality about them that, you know, just won't go killing, you know, half-cocked. Clea isn't like that. She wants to know who killed all these people in this this sort of magical bazaar, and she knows that the Thorn can help her. And it's funny because, you know, she goes up and says, "You're going to tell me, you know, where these people are?" And he goes, I might have the information, but what do I get in return?" She says basically, "I'm not like other people that you've dealt with. I don't bargain. You will tell me, or I will kill you. That's as simple as that." So she wants to get the information, and it's really well done. And we also finally get a little bit of I know, some groundedness in reality and a little bit of humor when she is told that her mother is coming to dinner. So, Strange, still a great series, still so much fun, and I gotta say, I know this is a very finite series. They don't have it listed as a mini series, but, you know, Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange is going to come back, and eventually he's going to take over his book, which means that this is probably going to end. I would like to see more Clea. I really am enjoying this character, just like with Sif, Lady Sif from the Thor series. I always liked her a lot. They never did enough with her, but hopefully once Stephen Strange comes back and Doctor Strange becomes a title again, hopefully Clea still maintains her own series. Okay, moving on. Another book that's really picking up is Little Monsters number 4. So now these little vampire kids, they they're drinking blood for the first time now, and they're starting to, like, their senses are coming alive. They're starting to see the world for the first time, and it's just astounding for them. Although not all of them are partaking, so now we've got this moment where, is this drinking of the blood, is this going to turn some of these kids wicked? Is it gonna are we gonna get a change in morality here? Are we gonna change in the guard, so to speak? So it's gonna be really fun to see where this book goes now that some of these kids have drank blood and some of these kids have not. It's also cool that intermixed with your main story, with your A story through these issues, you've got a B story, and that's just basically your origins for all these kids here. And it's done in the way it's done as a flashback, but it doesn't derail the whole story, which I think is great. Jeff Lemire does an amazing job in this series. And again, I mean, the artwork, I can't say enough about the artwork. The cover for the 5th issue, if they have a preview for it here, and if that's the cover that they use, I'm going to get at least 2 of those covers. It is an absolutely gorgeous cover, and I can't wait to see it in person. So, Little Monsters, a great series. And, I'm going to stop hawking on the whole gender thing with one of the characters, because it's gotten to the point now where it's not, starting with this issue in particular, it's not the focus of that character. He's now part of the story. So as long as it's part of the story, I'm fine with it. I don't care. They can make those references if they want, but when they hammer it and hammer it and hammer it, that's when I start having a problem with it. But he is one of my favorite characters, and all these characters are really interesting. And I got to tell you, at the end of this one was a shock, because we find out what the extent of their immortality is at the end of this issue. So, Little Monsters, if you're not reading it, check it out. It's a great little vampire series, well written, amazing art. I love the coloring, everything about it. It's so much fun. On the flip side, we have Ghost Rider. Now, we're only 3 issues into this series, and I'm already finding stuff that I don't like about it, and this aggravates me. First off, having Ghost Rider on the road like he is in this series just kind of takes away from the fun of the character. I know Blaze in his original series was sort of a traveling Wilbury type character, but he was in cities and he interacted, and there was more to it. But there's a lot of just walking through the woods. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of him sort of introspective thinking, which is not Blaze. He's an everyman. He's sort of like a Jack Burton without the sense of humor type character, and I want them to go back to it. Also, this whole thing where Ghost Rider, or whatever Ghost Rider this is, this whole idea that they could touch a truck and it becomes a giant flaming vehicle that he can drive. Or, one of the dumbest things I've seen is I'm on a woolly mammoth. This needs to go away. It's Ghost Rider. It's a basic concept. It's a guy with a flaming skull who rides a flaming motorcycle, or a motorcycle with flaming wheels. Now, this is clearly not Zarathos, because Zarathos was able to make motorcycles completely out of hellfire, which I thought was great. It's an awesome visual. But this whole thing here, there's a scene in here where he goes up to a semi-truck and he turns into this monstrosity. I'm sure it was intended to look really cool, but to me it was just plain stupid. And I had a really, really hard time getting through this issue. There's way too much talking, way too much, analogies. There's too much, monsters this and spirits that and all that sort of stuff. It's like, just cut the dialogue. Unless Blaze is talking to somebody, let's start building these characters up. I mean, we don't really have any backup characters in this book yet. We've got this FBI chick and this dude that's with her. They're not interesting. And I gotta tell you, Blaze is not interesting. Ghost Rider is not interesting in this book. Now, I'm not gonna drop it right away. I'm gonna give it a couple more issues because I really do like Ghost Rider. I really do want to like this series. But I tell you, the last Ghost Rider series from 2019 to 2020 was a hell of a lot better. It was a lot more entertaining. I didn't really care for the whole Blaze and Ghost Rider being king of hell. I thought it was dumb as well. But that was at least a lot more interesting than what we're getting in this Ghost Rider series. So, and just the idea that we want to having to wait an extra month or so to get this issue makes it even more disappointing. So, I got to say, Ghost Rider, this is not going good for Ghost Rider. Spider-Man 2099 Exodus, number 1 of 5, introducing Winter Soldier 2099. This book, it does take place, I guess, in the main 2099 continuity, but it makes one of the fatal mistakes that, 2099... it handled it better originally, and that's this whole idea of original characters and legacy characters. You have Crossbones in here, and clearly it's the original Crossbones, but the Winter Soldier. I thought it was cool how Winter Soldier is now it's not just one person, it's sort of this program, and each one, I guess each one had different powers or whatnot. But I don't know, there's just something about the way they're doing it just doesn't interest me. But it is cool that there is a sort of a callback to Bucky Barnes. We find out what happened to him because we find his arm in this issue. But really, this is the book says Spider-Man 2099. He's on like 2 pages. It's this Winter Soldier 2099 character who's actually a pretty cool character. Don't get me wrong, she's pretty sweet. This new this 2099 this Crossbones 2099 is actually pretty cool. But the book should probably be Winter Soldier 2099, or just call it 2099 Exodus, because this is not Spider-Man. He's barely in it. Ghost Rider is barely in it. So what's the point in calling it Spider-Man 2099? But I mean, if you're a fan of the original run, I mean, it's still good. I mean, you got a great Ryan Stegman cover there with Crossbones and Winter Soldier 2099. I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's not as bad as Ghost Rider. It's not as good as Strange, but it's still a fun read. Image number 2 of 12. I'm only reading this. I'm only picking this up for the Radiant Black, the Shift storyline. He's a character that appears in the Radiant Red miniseries, and after flipping through this one, I'm going to grab the first issue and I'm going to start reading all of these. So maybe with the third issue, I can start giving you guys sort of a rundown as to what the hell's going on with Image in general. This 30th anniversary anthology. It's got a lot of great, talented people on there, and flipping through it, there's some great art, and that usually means we got some very interesting stories. So I'm going to check that out. With issue 3, I'll be talking about that in more detail. So those are all the books that I picked up last week. Before I go on, I want to say once again, I am now on Whatnot. It's comic book underscore book underscore hangover. I'll put the link in the description down below. So if you you see the video and you want to check it out, I am selling the comic books from my collection. I'm doing shows. I'm trying to do shows on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I have kind of branched out. I was just doing comic books at first, but this past Wednesday, I decided to do a show where I was selling off some of my Garbage Pail Kids stuff, and that went really well. So I'm thinking that Monday and Friday are going to be comic books, and Wednesday is going to be Garbage Pail Kids. I also had a huge success with selling off a bunch of my Zombie Tramp Dan Mendoza books. It got a great reaction to that show. So probably next Monday, probably Monday or next Friday, I'm going to have another Zombie Tramp show. So if you're a Dan Mendoza Zombie Tramp fan, I'm going to have Zombie Tramp, Baby Badass, Dollface. I might even have some Vampblade. I don't know. But I'm going to have some. It's not going to be a huge show. I don't have a whole lot, but I do have some left that I can definitely part with and put up for auction. So that said, check me out on Whatnot. I appreciate it. Let's move on to the books that I picked up this week, including the one that I won for my LCS, James Tinian's Closet, The Closet #1. It wasn't a book that I was going to pick up, but I figured, if I win it, I will read it, and maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. So that was a win, because what my LCS does is every week they have I think like 12 books that they put up for auction, and sometimes it's stuff that's available. Sometimes it's variant covers, ratio variants, that sort of stuff, and excuse me. Depending on how much you spend, determines how many tickets you get, and you can go in for the raffle and win. I don't always win, but sometimes I do, and I get stuff like The Closet, so I'm very happy with that. Aside from that, the actual new books that I picked up this week that were on my pull list, sorry about that. Jenny Zero #2. Love this series. And it looks like there's an evil big boy right there. Even though I just was talking badly about it, I did pick up the third print of Ghost Rider #1, mainly because it's got a really sweet cover. I love that cover. Monkey Prince #5 of 12, a little Jaws homage there. And I think this issue, he goes to Atlantis. He goes to the Chinatown in Atlantis and finds where the Chinese dragons are. And the last book I picked up this week is Mighty Morphin #20 with an amazing Inyuk Lee Pink Ranger cover. Absolutely stunning cover there. So that is it. That is what I got. That is what I'm talking about. I'm really disappointed that I'm not liking Ghost Rider as much as I want, but being a glutton for punishment and being a Ghost Rider fan, I'm gonna stick with it for a few more issues and see how it pans out. I hope it gets better. I hope they pull it together, but I'm not holding my breath because this is Marvel that we're talking about. Although I am really loving Strange. That's just an amazing book. But that's it. That's what I got. So hopefully I'll see you guys on Whatnot. Usually my shows are at about 5 o'clock, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I am doing a special show tonight, actually, so I may not do a show on Friday. I'll do one on Monday. But just, if you're on there, give me a follow, and then you can keep up to date on the shows that I'm doing, the themes that I'm doing. I have, I think, 67 followers now. Once I get up to 100 followers, I'm going to start doing giveaways. So it'll give me a chance. It'll give me a chance and some time to pull some stuff together for a giveaway. But that said, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving me a view. And thank you again for your continued support. I will see everybody, if I don't see you tonight on Whatnot at 5 o'clock Eastern, I'll see you next week somewhere. But have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you around.